Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for a movie I was actually kind of looking forward to. This movie got a lot of Golden Globe, got the Golden Globe praise and things like that, and I was very interested in it. And it's being released in theaters this week, so I was kind of interested in seeing this movie. And that movie is Cake. Now, Cake was a movie that, as I said, yeah, I was looking forward to. I mean, Jennifer Aniston did get that Best Actress award. I heard this is her best performance to date. I heard that it's very different for her. And I looked at the plot, and the plot seemed very interesting, so I wanted to see how the movie was. And of course, it got a screeners, so it leaked onto Solar Movie, and I watched it. And this is the most disappointing movie of the year so far. This is totally the Men, Women, and Children of 2015 so far. This movie was extremely disappointing, and honestly, this movie kind of goes to the theory that just because it's indie does not mean it's good. This is one of those indies where it's not very good. Now, I'm going to talk about why this movie is not very good. Now, the plot of this movie is actually kind of interesting, and I actually kind of really like the plot of this movie. The plot of this movie is that Jennifer Aniston plays this woman who's very unstable, Claire Bennett. She's very, very unstable, and she goes to these support groups, and in one of those support groups, there were these people that were honoring this girl Nina Collins, who just committed suicide. She just committed suicide, and she wants to find out more about the suicide. She starts to become very obsessed with it, and starts to see visions of Nina, and ultimately realizes that seeing these visions of Nina is actually helping her get through her own pain and heal herself and kind of cleanse herself. And that's basically the plot of Cake. Now, the thing about this movie is that plot is very interesting, but the problem is it's all handled terribly in this movie. This movie was extremely disappointing, and I'm going to talk about why. Let's first get to the acting in this movie. The acting in this movie was good to a point. Jennifer Aniston, I can see why she got the Golden Globe. She is very, very good in this movie. Probably her best performance to date. She was very, very good. But the thing about her character is that I did not care about her character in this movie. Literally, this is her character. She's unstable. That's it. We don't know why she's unstable. We don't know what's happened to her. We don't see, what's going on with her. We don't understand why she's unstable. The movie doesn't give us a reason why this is happening to her. The movie doesn't give us a reason as to why she's so crazy. And honestly, the first half of this movie, she was very, very good. She had a very good performance, very calm performance. But then the second half of the movie, she completely went over the top, and completely, the entire movie changed, and it got way too crazy, and way too convoluted, and way too unrealistic, that this is probably the most overrated performance I have seen at the Golden Globes so far. It was extremely overrated. I am so happy she did not get nominated for an Oscar, because she was not good in the second half of this movie. She's attacking people. She's going crazy. It did not work for me at all. Her character was not interesting. She gave a good performance, but her character was not interesting, unfortunately. So yeah, I didn't like her character. Adriana Barraza plays Silvana, and she's supposed to be sort of like the comic relief of the film. I didn't find her funny at all. There was not one thing she said that made me laugh. There was not one thing that happened between her and Claire that I liked. I didn't like anything about their relationship, and I didn't care about their friendship or anything. I thought she was just a boring character and just way too one-dimensional. And unfortunately, I have to say this, I am extremely surprised about this. The worst performance in the movie is not Jennifer Aniston. The worst performance in this movie has to go to Anna Kendrick, and I feel so bad for her. Now, I understand why Anna Kendrick signed on to this movie, because people think that Anna Kendrick is only doing musicals now, and that she just wants to be typecasted in musicals. But let me say this about Anna Kendrick. She's trying to do more films. I've said this before. Anna Kendrick is one of the most versatile actresses working today. She's trying to do so much more. Every last 5 years there's a Pitch Perfect 2. Every Pitch Perfect 2 there's a The Voices. She's trying to do as much different work as she can. And I really love that about Anna Kendrick. The problem is her character is annoying. And the way they do her character is very annoying. It's not really Anna Kendrick's fault that her acting is bad. It's that anybody could have done this and their acting would have been bad. Now let me explain why. Basically, Claire starts to see these visions of Nina, and the whole point of her character is to motivate her. And I would have wanted to see flashbacks of Nina's character. I would have wanted to see more of why Nina's character did what she did. We don't really get that in the movie. And honestly, we don't understand why Claire's seeing these visions of her either. Why is she obsessed with this woman's suicide? Why does she even care about this woman's suicide? Like, why does she care about it? I don't understand it. And her character is just so bland and boring. And every time there was a conversation between them, I got bored. And it's very disappointing because every time I see Anna Kendrick, she always puts a smile on my face. Every time I see her, I give the movie props for doing that. I definitely give Jennifer Aniston props for doing this kind of role, definitely. And I give Anna Kendrick props for doing this kind of role. It's just they portrayed it horribly. They had no chemistry whatsoever. And Anna Kendrick was so annoying in the movie. Like, her character was so annoying. She's like, oh, it's all gonna be okay. You know, I faked my suicide because of this. Like, that's literally how her character talks. She's so soft-spoken. She's so annoying. And I didn't like her character at all, and I was very disappointed by how much I did not care about her character. Her character was just not interesting to me at all. That I felt very bad for Anna Kendrick. I mean, she's done some very, very good stuff. Last 5 years, I definitely want to see that now. I hope that that is very, very good. I heard she's amazing in that. I can't wait to see that now. After this, I cannot wait to see the last 5 years. Like, after this, I really want to see that movie. Sam Worthington is supposed to be like a love interest to Claire, and no chemistry between them whatsoever. He is Nina's father, I think. Nina's father or brother or something like that. I didn't even care about the characters in this movie, so I didn't care about his character either. His character is way too one-dimensional. He has a son in the movie. I didn't care about his character. I didn't care about the relation between him and Claire. Just, they were very, very boring. I didn't care about either of them, and I didn't care about anything going on with their characters. Nothing. All the other characters were just nothing. William H. Macy randomly shows up in this movie. I didn't care about his character either. And all the characters were just way too one-dimensional. That's the thing with this movie, is that the acting, while it could be very good, it's way too one-dimensional. And it's not the actor's fault. It's not Jennifer Aniston's fault that she was bad in this movie. It's the script's fault and the director's fault. The way the director wanted to portray this movie, I did not understand. The first half of this movie is portrayed like a comedy. Like, there's comedic music in the background, and there's funny scenes going on. It did not make me laugh. I don't think this movie should have been handled that way at all. And then the second half, they try to make, like, this very dramatic thing, and honestly, the second half of this movie, the last half of this movie, felt like a Lifetime movie. There were parts of this movie where I thought I was watching a Lifetime movie. That's how bad the acting got. That's how stupid this movie gets, and that's how much I was disappointed by this movie. And it's really Daniel Barnes' fault, the director, who did a horrible job directing this movie. I want to see, what else has this guy done? I'm looking at what this guy has done right now. He's done Beastly, which was not very good. He's done Won't Back Down. Clearly, he does not know how to make a movie. He has not made very good movies, and this is no exception. This movie was not good either, and I really hope that he does something good, because this is not good. It was not what I wanted it to be at all, and it's not, and it's mainly his fault that it's not good. It's mainly Daniel Barnes' fault that this movie was not good at all. And I didn't really feel bad for any of the characters, and the tones of this movie just did not work at all. As I said, it got way too dramatic, and when it got dramatic, I didn't care. After it got dramatic, the second half of this movie, I completely lost focus. Completely. And the movie also does not focus on what I want to focus on. First of all, I want this movie to focus a lot more on the character of Nina Collins. Her character is just there to talk to Claire. What I thought this movie was going to do was Claire finding out more about Nina Collins, find out more about her character, find out more about how she was, and that's not what this movie does. This movie is Claire trying to cleanse herself by talking to Nina Collins, and it does not work. I would have wanted to find out more about her character, why she committed suicide so Claire doesn't end up that way. That would have made for a much more enjoyable movie and a much more well-written movie. The screenplay in this movie is boring as fuck. Like, this movie, I couldn't wait for this movie to end. I literally could not wait for this movie to end. This is one of those movies where, when you're watching it, it's like, just end already. This movie's 103 minutes. It's not even that long, and it feels like 2 hours. It's not long at all, and I could not wait for this thing to end. And it's also total Oscar bait. I can totally see why this movie got Golden Globe, because the Academy would just eat this thing up. Like, the Academy would just love it, and it's total Oscar bait, because, of course, Claire, like Jennifer Aniston, she didn't wear any makeup in this role. Like, I can totally understand why someone would think she did a great job, but I thought she did not do a good job. Now, the one thing that is good about this movie is the score. The score of this movie is pretty good. I thought the score was good. Cinematography, though, was also very good. There's some great scenes. There's some great shots where they're in the pool or any. There are really great shots with the cinematography. Cinematography is very, very good to this movie. The editing, though, as I said, is as slow as molasses. This movie is very, very boring, and nothing really happens till the second half of this movie. And when things are happening, I didn't give a shit. I didn't care what happened in this movie. I didn't care when things were happening. I just didn't care about them at all. There was nothing really I cared about fully in this movie, and it's really disappointing that happened, because I really wanted to like this movie. Also, I didn't see the real message of this movie. Is the message of this movie that people just commit suicide to commit suicide? Is the message of this movie that Jennifer Aniston's character is always going to be the way she is and she can't change it? Is the message of the movie that maybe she's impacted by Nina's advice? Is the message of the movie that we all are similar in some way? Is a message. I didn't really see a message here. The movie's trying to say something, but I couldn't tell what it was, and it honestly really affected the movie for me, because when a movie's trying to tell you something, I want it to tell me. It's not something I have to analyze either, because you don't have to analyze anything in this movie, because this movie does have an ending, and it just ends with her, and I didn't like the ending of this movie either. The conclusion of this movie was awful, and I didn't care about really anything in this movie, and I was very surprised by how much I was disappointed with this movie. This might just make my top 10 worst movies of the year. I really was very disappointed by it. I really wanted to like it more than I did, and it really ruined a lot of things for me. It ruined how much I love Anna Kendrick. I still feel she's one of the best actresses working today. I do. Jennifer Aniston, I really want to see her do another movie like this. I do. I want to see her do another movie like this with a good director, because that was the problem with the movie, was the writing and the directing. I definitely want to see her do another movie like this. I know she has another new movie coming out this year called She's Funny That Way. I want to see how that is, definitely, because I definitely feel like if they had a different director to this movie could have been very good, and this movie might have had a huge impact on me, and this movie might have actually really made me care about the characters, but the director fails to do any of that. The characters are lifeless, they are way too generic, and as I said, her character is just unstable to be unstable. Anna Kendrick's character is only there to give her advice. Every character only has one purpose, and that's all they do throughout the entire movie. So Vanya's character is just there to be the funny one and like help Claire out. Nina's character is only there to motivate Claire. Roy Collins is only there to be a love interest to Claire, and none of these things mattered to me. None of these things I cared about. None of these things I actually thought, were actually interesting, and the things that they focused on I didn't care about very much, and that's why I did not like this movie very much at all. So, it's really disappointing. I usually love indie movies, and this is the first indie movie I've seen. Well, actually, no, the first indie movie I've seen this year is Predestination, and now I've seen this movie, and I'm extremely disappointed by it. But that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and pretty much a rant. Honestly, it was. I can't recommend this movie to you. I want to recommend this movie, but I can't. There's nothing redeemable in this movie that I can recommend to you. That's why I gave the film 2 stars out of 5, because I do feel like Jennifer Aniston and Anna Kendrick, they are trying. Everyone in this movie, I didn't say this. Everyone in this movie is trying to make a good movie. Everyone. Jennifer Aniston tried her best. I think Anna Kendrick tried her best, even though she had nothing to do in the movie. Everyone in this movie is trying, everyone in the movie's trying, but they fail to create a good story. They fail to get you involved in the story, and that's really where the movie came crashing down for me, and that really was my problem with the movie. But that's basically this review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Kind of surprised I didn't like this. I like Map to the Stars more. I didn't think that would happen, but yeah, I thought this was, you guys will see if you go on my Letterboxd, this is my second worst movie of the year so far. My worst is obviously Taken 3, but this is my second worst. And very disappointed by this movie. Don't see this movie. I'm going to be honest, don't see it, okay? I'm not sugarcoating things here, guys. Don't see it. You're going to be extremely disappointed if you see it. If you're like me and you want to see it and you think it could be interesting, no, it's not interesting. It's boring and it's slow and nothing happens and it feels like a Lifetime movie at times. And it was just very boring, and it was just very disappointing by how boring it was, and I really hope that the actors in this movie just do something better than this, because it really sucked, and it was very disappointing.